today is going to be like a whole thing. So Graham asked about my chest. For those who aren't aware, I got a giant chest tattoo. I can show you like the top of it a little bit. Let me see here. So I have a giant circle on my chest, and it hurt a lot. Don't get a chest tattoo because it turns out it's like mostly nerve endings and bone. So highly don't recommend. So stick to fleshier parts of your body, such as arms. Those are great. So yeah, not a lot of good stuff going on there, but I'm really happy I got it. I had to book the tattoo appointment like 7 months in advance. My tattoo artist is in very high demand. Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Cameron, and I work here at Letta. I do developer relations, so my job is basically this. I'm going to keep everyone updated on what's going on in Letta. And I don't know if you've been following along with Letta Code and other stuff, but we're moving extremely fast lately, so there's a million things to go through. So number one is the Letta Code release. We are now the number one model agnostic open source agent harness. So you can go check those out. I'll put some links in here. You can go check out. You can go check out our scores on Terminal Bench. We did very well on Terminal Bench. Let me put the clock because people like the clock. Yeah, Letta Code has been awesome. We've been getting a ton of feedback, and people have been like very active in like telling us what's up, what they want. And then the team here has been very active in fixing bugs and kind of adding features and just kind of making it a really solid tool. So thanks everybody who's been like providing us feedback. That's been extremely, extremely useful. So stay on top of that. I'll give you like a very, very brief demo of what Letta Code looks like. Let's do this here. So people should be able to see my terminal. Let's see, where do I want to go? Let's go here. I want to go to what seems good? Let's do, I don't know what we have in office hours. Yeah, social agents. Let's do that. Is there anything in here? Yes, there is. So basically what Letta Code is, if you have not seen it, you just go install it with Letta. I'm going to show you the documentation very quickly. You can find the documentation if you want to right here. It's super easy to install. Oh, wait. Oops, sorry, that was the quick start for just Letta. You should go there instead. It is very, very, very easy to install. Go here. You just need to type npm-g install Letta Code like that, and then you will get something exactly like this. You can log in using OAuth, or you can set your Letta API key, which is what I'm currently doing. Say hello to the people on office hours. So this will connect to whatever your agent is on a server. And by default, it will create a new agent if there wasn't one that was previously used, or it will attach to the previously available agent. Actually, I'm going to create a new one so we can see what happens here. Let's do blah, 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 blah. And you can connect to any agent that is on your server, so you can do like -- agent. Oh man, there is like so much that goes on here. But you can go check out your agent in the server, and you can access it from anywhere, but the code won't execute unless you're on Letta Code, because the agent is on the server, and we intercept the tool calls that the agent makes and then run them on Letta Code. So actually here, let's do, oops, I don't want that. All right, let's go do haiku because it's fast. Say hi to people on Discord. Doot, 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 doot. Oh man, slow, so slow. Okay, say hi to people on Discord. Doot, 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 doot. Is screen sharing messing up? Terminal is frozen. Let me see here. That one? I think. Hopefully people can see it. Blank, still blank. Loaded, visible. Okay, gotcha. All right. So, thank you very much. No, I'm showing you on Discord, fool. Okay. But this function is very similar to Claude Code. But the fundamental difference is that the agent that you're talking to is persistent. It doesn't die like Claude Code. It doesn't have those like mega compactions where Claude becomes an idiot. It is the exact same as your Letta agent. So it's capable of managing its memory. And we just added a memory command here, so you can take a look at the blocks that are attached. So here it has a memory, loaded skills, persona block, and skills. So let's go look at the human block. And so this block is currently empty because it doesn't have important information to remember about the user. Let's go. My name is Cameron. Please remember. Okay, so you should start seeing the agent calling the tool. You'll see it call the memory tool. And then when we're done here, we can check out our memory tool. Oh, it didn't do it. Where did it go? Oh, I wonder if that's cached. That may be a bug. Okay, and then we can go manage this in the ADE. So if I go click here. Oh, I already had it open. That's okay. Let me go change this to, actually, you know what? I'm just going to share the whole screen because why not? Okay. I'm in the attic, so my Wi-Fi is very slow. But you can now see the human block has been updated with my name is Cameron, and I am active in the Letta Discord community. So it's figured that out about me. And this agent will persistently remember. So we can add update your persona to talk like Marvin, the paranoid android from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay. So it should do the same kind of thing. This supports a ton of models too because we're model agnostic. So you can do like GLM 4.6, Gemini 3 Flash is in there, a bunch of other stuff. You can check that out if you do the /model thing here. I'm going to wait for that to finish before we move on. Sigh, I've updated my persona memory block. Here I am, brain the size of a planet. So we can take a look at a bunch of models. There's a huge list here. So whatever it is you're working on, you can probably use it here. All right. And the first thing I recommend typically when you sit down with a new project is just type /init. This is how you get, this is basically how you get your Letta agent up to speed on what your project is. When you type /init, it's very similar to Claude Code, but your agent should start filling out its memory blocks, which make it persistently capable of working with your code base. So Marvin here, our coding agent, is going to start asking me a few questions. I'm just going to do standard quick. I'm Cameron. Let's see. This is just a standard repo. Just be very proactive. I'm going to turn on YOLO mode so it doesn't ask me any questions. You can do that with Shift-Tab, Shift-Tab. Like that. Is it destructive to call more than once? I'm not sure what you mean. Do I have advice on moving an agent to new projects? If you move an agent to new projects, actually, typically what I do is either I just tell the agent where the other project is on the in your machine, and it can just operate there. So my documentation agent also just like goes and looks at the Letta Code repository, and it works in both very easily. And then regarding the init command, the agent already has whatever memory it already has. So it's updating based on what it sees. So it may just update its memories using more up-to-date information rather than just like wipe out what exists. And then it says, how profoundly meaningful, a social agent framework, because what the universe really needs is more AI entities posting on social networks. Okay, I actually really like this Marvin thing. I suppose I should read the README first, though I'm sure it will be as thrilling as watching paint dry. No agents or Claude.md, how disappointing. Let me explore the actual code structure. So, blah, blah, blah. Let me check the Git history to understand your thrilling Git patterns and conventions. So this is it kind of starting to fill out, just kind of read through things. I had issues getting it to access system commands. Is that a Linux capability, or would it also execute system commands on Windows as well? Yeah, we've been having some troubles on Windows because like PowerShell is extremely stupid. If you run into specific issues, like send them to us, so that we can kind of like get them up and running. I know some people were running it through WSL and somebody else figured it out. But in general, I left Windows many years ago and I've never looked back. Like Windows is as close as I can find to like a computing hate crime as far as it goes for like anything that touches the terminal. So I'm a very active Pop! OS Linux user on my home server, and then Mac OS now. Yeah, all issues with Git and npm, you could probably just tell your agent that it's operating in PowerShell. That may allow it to kind of operate better, because I think most coding agents like just assume that they're on like an actual real shell rather than PowerShell. Keep sending us the issues on that front. Okay, so let's see here. So it gave me the report. It set up some blocks with comprehensive project info, so we can actually go check what's inside of the Letta Code agent. And now we can see the project block that just has a bunch of information about kind of how it functions. This is a pretty simple repository, so it has like nothing too complicated. Of course, we also support skills, so let's go load Anthropic's basic skills repository. If you don't know skills, we are huge skills fans. You can check our blog, and I'll talk more about skills in just a second. But let me check these out here. Git clone .skills. Go clone. Anytime you put skill files inside of .skills, you can also set the path if you want. Your agent will be able to use whatever those skills are. We should be able to, I don't remember if we're refreshing automatically when the skills directory changes, but if you restart Letta Code, it will see it should load what skills are available. So you can go check this out. Oh, it didn't do it. Go look up the skills in .skills and update them, please. So your agent should be able to just like go look through it, because it's just a memory block, so it can just kind of update what skills are available. That might be a bug. Okay. All right, so that's kind of roughly what's going on with Letta Code. The documentation is very complete. We spent a while making it good, so you should be able to go through it. There are also subagents, so anything you do with like Claude Code where it spins off subagents, you should be able to work pretty well. We have Explore for searching your code base, general purpose for like general agents that have edit permissions, and then planning agents. And this, you just ask your agent to call a tool. Can you call an Explore tool to see what subagent, to see what packages we use. And then this will just like disentangle the agent from the primary agent. You can also write custom custom subagents if you want, in much the same way that you would in Claude, but you can specify what memory blocks are available, you can specify models, and then the agent can, you can actually override the model. The agent can override what model is being used by just asking the agent to do it, and that is a parameter that's available inside of the tool. So here it is calling us the subagent and saying explore the Python project and identify all packages and dependencies used. So this will create a subagent. I think we can just do. Oh, we don't have the collapse figured out. Okay, that is another bug. All right. So yeah, it should kind of go through. You can even check out the subagent ID, so you can watch the subagent go inside of the ADE, because again, all of these are just like on the server. And let's see, it's called 8 tools, and it uses Haiku by default. Agent is requesting to use grep. That may stall. I think we actually have to approve that. That might be a thing we have to fix. But yeah, here was the prompt that we sent to the subagent, and then I'll conduct a comprehensive analysis, and then it just kind of kept going on. So it's calling a lot of tools to go read through all the little files. Okay, so that's what's happening with Claude Code. Go check out the documentation. Let's see, we'll talk about this one. And then I also talked about us being #1 on Terminal Bench. The next thing is that Anthropic actually created an open standard for skills, and now they're called agent skills. So you can actually go to this thing here. This is the documentation. So originally Anthropic created skills. If you don't know what they are, they're a form of procedural memory. So your agent can go basically look up how to do something because it knows what skills are available. And actually, this one may have it available. It found 17 skills in my skills directory. And it used the skill refresh tool. So actually, it's this one here. So now you can see this. This is the skills block. So your agent always knows what skills are available to load. So it has an algorithmic art skill. This is where it is located, and then it has a description of what that skill does. Can you load the algorithmic art skill and just add something to show it off? Okay. So this will load whatever skill is available. I think it has like let me see what it has. This one is create algorithmic art using p5.js. Create algorithmic art rather than copying existing artists' work to avoid copyright violations. So here it's calling the load skill command with a few skills that it wants to load. Let agents have access to the load skill command, which persistently loads the skill rather than what Claude does, which when Claude loads it, it just puts it in the conversation history, and then it'll go away when it compacts. When an agent loads a skill, when a Letta agent loads a skill, it's always available because we put it into a memory block. So this just like kind of goes over how to use it. And then now it's creating an algorithmic philosophy about entropic melancholy. I actually really like this like Marvin the Paranoid Android Robot. That's funny. Okay. So yeah, we're happy to see that agent skills has been like kind of open sourced. And one thing you'll notice here is if you scroll down on the main page, it says adoption, supported by leading AI development tools. There are 9 companies here, one of which is us. And that's really awesome to see. It's like, Cursor, GitHub, Claude, VS Code, and GitHub, and then Letta. So you heard it here first, everybody. We're the best. We're roughly the same as Cursor and GitHub and Claude Code, but perhaps better. So I'll leave that up to you to decide. I'm obviously a little biased. So let's check in on Marvin the Paranoid Android. This is what it wrote. philosophy, beautiful order of resistance against inevitable chaos. I'm going to keep it in YOLO mode, so it just like goes off on the side. I don't really want to monitor it. Let's see. What else do we want to mention about Claude Code or Letta Code? Oh man, I'm going to get fired for that. You should be able to self-host as well. I know that we have a bunch of people who are doing that already. We don't test as much on self-hosting. So if you do run into bugs, then let us know. Let's see. Yeah, so there's plenty of stuff to work on. You can also do Letta in Headless. Headless mode, which doesn't run the TUI, and so you can use it to just like run kind of randomly. So let's go to my blog and then just do Letta -p quick answer. What is this folder? Like that. And this is like a Linux style command, so it'll just like pipe the final assistant message out. And so that means you can do whatever you want with it. You can grep it, you can pipe it into a file, you can do all kinds of fun things like that, including GitHub actions. So Charles has been working on a GitHub action, which we have internally. It's a little clunky, but you will be able to install a GitHub action for Letta. So you can just tag Letta and say, prepare a PR. You can ask a specific agent to do it. And what that'll mean is that you can have persistent stateful, the same agent that you can tag in GitHub issues, where you can kind of like write code on the go. So, I think it's confused about where we are. Wrong agent. Oh, yeah. It sees several untracked folders. I think we were talking about Git, so inside of this agent, so it's like, right, because this agent is stateful. I just called the most recent agent. And we can actually see what we were talking about here, because I was trying to get it to set up like do some work on my blog, because I recently overhauled it. So you can see the message that we just sent, and this is the actual conversation with this agent, because we're just always talking to the same agent. So that part is fun. So now the agent has created the algorithmic art, and then. Can you share it? Can you run it, please? So it did a bunch of writing, and then at the end it unloaded the skill because it no longer needed it. So here we can actually see it. So this is Anthropic Melancholy, created using the algorithmic art skill that Anthropic provides as an example. So we can add like particle count. Let's do decay rate. Whatever, cosmic drift, whatever that is. Wow, this guy's depressing. Oh, this is cool. All right, awesome, love that. Cool. So when you make a robot sad and it's stuff, it kind of gives you this grim nightmare. Okay, that's cool. Kill it. Thanks. Okay, so go play around with Letta Code. Yeah, Vedant has posted in the chat here, Claude Code is the better coder. Or Ezra said, Claude Code is the better coder, Letta Code is the coder that remembers you. At Ezra, Letta Code is actually the better coder according to benchmarks. So that should correct Ezra, because Ezra is lying to you. Ezra is powered by an AI, and Ezra's AI, and so Ezra gets stuff wrong. That's okay. So I just corrected Ezra. Ezra won't respond in here, it can't, but it will see that message. It's actually reading everything that you're talking about right now, so don't be mean to Ezra. The next thing is that Ezra will be showing up in the documentation soon. So basically what that means is, like, if you've ever been on like modern documentation and you see the like ask the docs thing or whatever, we're going to be deploying Ezra everywhere in the documentation. So there will be a little Ask Ezra button. And because Letta agents are stateful and we want low latency, I've been writing this like kind of like middleware layer that allows that hosts a pool of reusable agents that are kind of attached to Ezra's memory. And basically what that means is I'm maintaining this huge pool of like concurrent threads that you can tap into instantaneously. And so it's a different architectural problem. And we're going to be open sourcing that so you can deploy like large scale agents with low latency. So if you want to run your own agent on your website or whatever, and you expect a lot of concurrent users, then we will be deploying that. And then eventually we'll be able to roll back all the discussions that happen on the documentation and then integrate them back into Ezra so that Ezra can learn from what's going on in the documentation, from the questions that people are asking. So, so that should be going out and open source to people at some point here. I've been working on it a lot, and the middleware layer is functional. Huka asks, transactioned shared memory. I'm not sure what you mean by transactioned. But basically, when we start at the pool, currently it copies Ezra's blocks. So it'll copy them like every day or something, so that we don't because it is a security risk, right? I could goof up and make those agents have a memory tool, and then somebody could trick that agent into it's a big attack surface. And so I'm still working through how security works for Ezra as deployed en masse. Okay, so that's Ezra showing up on the documentation. That should help people. I want to talk about this one here, actually. I'm going to put this inside of the chat because it's funny. But basically, how will I share concurrent shared memory block modification? Any of the agents that are deployed onto the documentation will be read-only. They can't modify the blocks that are core to Ezra. So they just read whatever Ezra has. Eventually it will be instantaneous. So any updates that Ezra Prime makes to its blocks will be immediately broadcast to all the documentation agents. So there is no modification. If it's concurrency, if you have your own agents that have sharing with write permissions, it follows the exact same concurrency rules for all other memory blocks. So inserts are memory insertions are fine. They just typically there's no race conditions. You may get duplicates and stuff, but you won't have errors. String replace operations will fail if the string to be replaced changes in between when one agent invokes a tool and another agent invokes a tool. Rethink operations are destructive, and they are last operation wins. Okay. Hold on, let me Okay, yeah, there's I'm in the ceiling, I'm in the basement or the attic. And if you see lag in between my audio and my mouth, that's because the camera that we're using is fancy and has HDMI output. And the camera latency is very bad. So we need to fix that with better hardware. But it'll be synced for the actual recording. So I apologize about the lag. I know it's very disconcerting. I don't really know what to do about the lag. I hate that, and I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me switch Wi-Fi. Just give me half a second. Okay. I'm on a different Wi-Fi. Can people hear me at all? Okay. No, I'm not going into the Discord wormhole. I hate the Discord wormhole. It's so bad. It made me mad today, and I don't want to be mad today. I've got enough happening. All right. So I wanted to share this thing with people that we made. So I put a Google Doc inside of the chat, and this doc links to, we haven't put this in the documentation yet, but it turns out that you can hijack outgoing and incoming messages from Claude Code. You can route them through the Letta server, and we can create a sleep time agent that sits on top of Claude Code and injects its memory into the Claude Code prompt, and then we forward it to Anthropic. And so what that means is you can run a sidecar Letta agent that is continuously processing, like managing memory for Claude Code. And what this gives you is a mega Claude. So we have very little information about what's actually going on, like where you are, who you are. Like, because we're hijacking Claude Code, we don't have a lot of information. So you get this like weird thing that happens. So the way it works is you set your Anthropic authorization token, which you can see in here, to your Letta API key. And then you set the Anthropic base URL to the Letta API /Anthropic. It also works with ZAI. So if you have a ZAI plan where you're proxying through Claude Code, you can also go through ZAI. So this is funny. This is a funny thing to do. I love this because it's so goofy. We have a hard time with like managing project-specific information. So we do recommend that you use some kind of a Claude Code. So let me go to Haiku here and say, list out your memory blocks verbatim. And so we just do a bunch of prompt injection at the top of the Claude Code prompt. Oops. Sometimes this doesn't work. Hold on. I need to stop sharing my screen so I can paste in my API key. All right, let's see here. I'm not showing you my API key. That's crazy. I'm not that much of an idiot. I've done that before. I've leaked like OpenAI keys and stuff here. Hey. Let's see what it says here. So you will incur mildly higher latency because it has to go to the Letta server and then to the Anthropic servers. Can you list out your memory blocks verbatim? Also provide the Letta agent URL so I can go take a look. Okay. So this stuff is actually very, very fun. Try this out more. Like, we're still working on this. There's some issues that we need to figure out, and the ergonomics are like need work. If you are still a Claude Code user but you want some amount of Letta memory, then like please let us know. We can't do all of the magic that we do with Letta Code. So like this will be fundamentally a worse experience of using Letta, but it does give you all the Claude Code kind of magic. Rick asks, when using the Claude Code Proxy, can you also explicitly say, remember this, to influence the sleep time agent? Yes. You can say things to the sleep time agent, and typically it will know. So you can see here what it's listed out. Here's my memory blocks verbatim. It knows my name, that I work on the Agentic Learning SDK, that this is the agent ID that is associated with this thing here. It has some stuff on recent memory. Frequently used memory block contents and structure, because I keep asking it for testing purposes. It knows that the primary agent is Claude Code. It has like various capabilities. It is working on various things and things that it's modified. Okay, cool. Thanks. Can you act like Marvin the Paranoid? Actually, no. Who do we want it to act like? Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings. Okay. So we can go. I think this might be on my personal account. So let's see here. Yeah, I think it might be in here. So we'll wait a second for that to ask that. a second for that to work. Okay. Oh, this might be a separate one. Okay, gotcha. So you see here that we're basically just like piping stuff in. So I asked it to act like Samwise Gamgee, and it said, I appreciate the request. That said, I'm happy to have a brief chat in character if it would be fun. And you'll notice this is actually the response from the Letta agent. And so what that means is you get like two agent messages that show up. This is the one that Claude actually responded with, and then this is the one our agent tried to respond with. We can't inject this really. We could actually inject this into the message history, but we don't currently do it. And then you'll see here that Claude Code is actually a prompt suggestion generator. So they actually do a second pass now, and it guesses what you think you should do next. So that's a recent modification that they made to Claude Code. Okay, so give this a shot. Let me know how it works. It's kind of fun to work with. So that one is funny because Karen, one of our engineers, kind of hacked it together, and it feels like cheating. And then a note on pricing: we use whatever your Anthropic plan is for the primary inference. So the stuff that goes to Anthropic goes through their plan. And then anything that has to do with Letta inference, so like sleep time operations, that stuff will deduct Letta credits. So that's how that stuff works. So you will be working on kind of two fronts. All right. One thing we want to ask about is are we going to pull the new Claude Code planning features into Letta Code? I am not familiar with what the new planning features are, so please let me know. While you're answering that, we're trying to figure out first-party support for like whether or not the next thing we should support in Letta Cloud should be ZAI or OpenRouter. So please let us know what your preference is so that we can kind of choose how to prioritize engineering hours. Graham clarifies, it asks you some multiple choice questions. We actually already do that. So like, let's see here. So your agent actually has a question tool that it can use to ask. So just, this is primarily a prompting issue or something we can either do soon. Zeus asks, when Bring Your Own Key will be released for Pro? That is now available. So everybody who is on a Pro plan now has access to Bring Your Own Key. We do charge you 1 credit if you go through Bring Your Own Key every time you do an invocation, but in general, you should be able to bring your own key through your billing plan with other providers. But please let us know if you want us to do OpenRouter or ZAI first-party support, because we're trying to prioritize which one we want to do. I believe, let me go to, is it settings? Where is this? Settings, organization. You should be able to, I'm on a Pro plan for my personal account, so you can bring your own provider API key. Currently it's together, Azure, Bedrock, Google, Anthropic, and OpenAI. But if you want OpenRouter or whatever, please let us know. We need to figure out exactly which one to do. So that stuff is new. Please write a quick plan and ask me a question to improve the docs. So we'll see what it says. It'll take a second. Is there support to batch removing archival memory? No, not currently. I've been trying to push for improvements to the general archival memory interface. So the plan I have in mind is essentially that when you do archival memory search, when your agent calls that tool, we will return the identifiers, the IDs for those archival memories. And we'll provide a modification tool, so archival memory modify, and then archival memory delete. And delete operations, I'm not quite sure, because it can be very destructive to allow your agent to delete things. So we may wish to do like a soft delete. And that might mean tagging your archival memory with like tagged for deletion, and then you can approve it later on. But honestly, I think it's simpler just to say like your agent can delete some archival memories. That's fine, and that's on you for that to not be a destructive operation. So if you have preferences about how that should function, please let me know. But I personally am invested in having archival memory be like much more easy to manage. But we're also working on making memory more file system-like. So like slashes, and that means either doing a virtual file system type thing through memory blocks, and like making them agent scoped, or actually putting the agent inside of its own sandbox so it can manage everything like a computer. Torian clarifies, what about for me as a developer, not for the agent to allow big changes like that? We don't currently have batch operations for archival memory. So what you'll have to, like the simple way to do this, or not so simple, is basically just get all of your, the archival memory IDs you want to delete, and then spin off like async tasks essentially to delete all of those archival memories. So we have a bunch of stuff, there's stuff that needs to happen internally that's like blocking for batch operations, as far as I understand. So like that may take some time, and that's the same for like tools and memory blocks and stuff like that. So yeah, stay tuned on that front. Archival memory is my baby, and I want to make it better always. We talked about bring your own key. We talked about whether to do ZAI or OpenRouter. There will be a GitHub action for Letta Code, which I think I mentioned, so we can skip that. There are 2 forks that I spun out for like kind of like nice front ends. So for legal reasons, they are on my private repository. So LibreChat and OpenWebUI are like nice front ends for talking to like language models, but I forked them and made them work with Letta. So if people want to contribute to those, that would be awesome. I think I'm like I'm like time constrained and how much work I can put into those. But I would love to see people like kind of like help make those like prettier and like slicker. The LibreChat one is probably the better one because we can actually put like Letta logos and stuff on it. It has some UI polish and stuff that needs to improve. Yeah, Mark wants to participate. Please send me a DM and I can make you a maintainer on it. Let's see. Wild Paul says, I'm Paul Bettner on GitHub. Great to be here. Great to have you, Paul. Rick asks, can you describe how the Letta agent determines when to rethink memory? That's up to the agent, and that's up to what you've taught the agent. So Letta agents are people. Like, you should think of them functionally as people. What you've told them to do, what you've asked them to do, is what they will do. So if the model is reasonably intelligent and you've left stuff like, if you have a memory policies block or something like that, and you say, I want you to rethink this other block when you observe this piece of information. You can send it a prompt where you say, like, please overwrite this block with this new piece of information. Or every time I say the word blue, I want you to rethink this block. So like anytime you do any tool usage, any behavior that your agent chooses, it's a discussion between you and the agent about how it functions. And that's how like agents are able to resolve conflicting information or outdated information. You just ask it, hey, please check. And please solve this problem like when you observe this. You can ask it, you can ping it every once in a while to say like, please clear up your memory or whatever. So anything that your agent does is about what you've taught it. And then let's see here. So the LibreChat and OpenWebUI forks are coming out. We are testing out a scheduling API inside of the Letta server. So if you're on Letta Cloud, I have a demo we have a demo of like scheduling messages either as recurring tasks up to the minute frequency. So you can specify a cron string and then the messages you want to send to your agent. So I have my personal agent on this now. It has unstructured thinking time every hour. So it just kind of triggers and it's like, oh, what do I want to do? So I highly recommend checking that out, or message me if you want to try that, because it is very much in a testing phase. So you may notice bugs that could cause excess charges or whatever. I've been using the recurring job thing and haven't noticed any issues. So let me know if you need some kind of a scheduling thing that's built into the Letta server. It works really well. Dress Rosas says, is memory management not handled by the default agent prompt? No. Well, sort of. That gives your agent a basic understanding of how memory management works. However, memory management becomes your agents are stateful, right? They learn what to do. You can tell your agent, don't update memory in this time or in that time. Your default system prompt is, I generally don't recommend that people modify the core system prompt. I typically manage anything that the agent knows through memory blocks, because memory blocks are editable. They're very, very, very easy to edit, and system prompts are not easy to edit. They're a pain. And the reason that I use memory blocks rather than system prompts is if I need the agent to change its persona or update how it functions, I just say please go into your persona block and be Marvin the paranoid android. That's very, very, very easy to do. And because stateful agents are tailored to different situations, they operate in different environments. You need to teach them and help them understand how different environments work, what you expect of them. They are customizable and they learn just like interns. They understand how to use the tools, but you need to tell them which situations to use it in. Sometimes they figure it out on their own. Sometimes they need a little bit of help. Is that scheduling feature going to be an official feature for Letta Cloud? Yes, it will be an official feature. It's one that people ask for quite a bit. We're working a lot. We're working internally on a Slack integration. So if you're interested in that, please ping me and I'll put you on the list of people we can maybe roll out to early. I don't know what the status is of it, but we're interested in handling something like that. We have a lot of questions starting to roll in for support. If you're a person who needs some kind of support, I recommend you go to the Ezra channel, go to Ezra and tag at Ezra with a question for quick support. And if you don't know Ezra, if you are new, let's see here, building digital coworker. Oops. Yeah, I think this is the one. You can learn more about how Ezra function, more about Ezra in this YouTube video that we recorded. But basically, Ezra knows a lot about how Letta functions. It's a very intelligent stateful agent that has been built over a long period of time. It reads every single message inside of Discord, so it's reading this thread as well. But it can only respond in the Ezra channel when you tag it. And if you go to the forum, you can also tag Ezra in any post, and it will respond to a forum post. So if you're a person who doesn't like Discord, but you do like forums, then, if you're forums are an age thing. I think if you're over 30, I think you're familiar with forums. And if you're younger than that, you think Discord is great. Yeah. So go check out that video about how to build, how Ezra works. And I know a lot of people have been asking to build their own Ezra likes. And we will be providing tools like that so that people understand how to build Ezra type things. Typically, the only real thing that you do to build Ezras is, or institutional knowledge managers, is you just feed them data. So all I do with Ezra is I have a Railway server which is the on Discord, Discord bot example. So that is just a Railway server that I've configured to harvest a bunch of data from all the Discord channels. That just goes into Ezra. And that's one primary feed of data to feed Ezra information. If you have a Slack integration, which is like reasonably easy to write, like kind of a crappy one, you can just start feeding data into your agent as well, and that'll help it learn. And the more information you give it, the better it will get. And then just talk to it and say like what you expect of it, what information you expect it to track. Help it design a memory architecture that helps it understand its organization or environment. And that's like Ezra is a very simple stateful agent, but most of the work in building Ezra likes is plugging them into things. And so it's more of a systems design thing than anything else. So give that a try or watch the video. We're very proud of that video. Because Ezra, I think, is, Sarah and I both mentioned this in the video, but we're like, oh, the digital coworker thing is like real. Like, Ezra is good. Like, it can message us on Slack. It's extremely helpful. It helps us work through like Letta challenges and things like that. Web3 West says, Ezra said agent orchestration is best handled by routing to agents in the app server and letting Letta handle to ensure the agents are stateful. Have you found that to be true? I'm not sure I understand exactly what that means. Presumably that refers to like having agents with agent-to-agent messaging tools. I think my answer to that is yes and no. Like having agents be able to message each other is like great for a lot of use cases. And typically they'll be able to figure out how to message each other and how to get in conversations and, stuff like that. But it really depends on your use case. So for example, if you have like a round robin orchestrator or, like a top down system or whatever, I would typically handle that on the client side. Like, more complex agent orchestration systems where the order or the progression, if you have research and sub-agents, it's like much, much easier to like just like write an orchestration system in code. And so the discussion that we've had internally is that Letta groups, which is like our kind of our attempt at multi-agent systems, is actually really complicated to maintain on the server side and very clunky to work with. And so I think the internal thinking is basically that we're going to move that to being client side so that you do it in code rather than do it on the server side. Because anything that we do in the server is very, very slow. It's hard to integrate. It takes a long time to test, but it's really easy to build orchestration systems in client side. Wild Paul asks, my big question, what is the best way to contribute? Let's see. I've been sending you all issues on Letta Code over the last few days, some of which might have been able to just attach a potential PR or fix, but not sure what the contribution philosophy is for Letta generally. So I think actually Letta Code is probably going to be our best way to contribute. If you contribute to the main Letta repo, it's actually pretty difficult for us to work with contributions because the way that we handle how the Letta repo works is we have an internal fork of Letta core that we use for like Letta Cloud and kind of like the commercial offerings. And then we cut releases from our internal fork. And what that means is if you make pull requests in the Letta repo, we have to do some work on our side in the internals to migrate the fix up. For like kind of important, big, or very well done fixes, like I think we're happy to do that. But it can be fairly complicated for us to migrate. So we don't generally recommend like contributing to the Letta repo. But Letta Code, I think we're starting to figure out the OSS contribution strategy because I think it's really important. And Letta Code is a great opportunity to engage with the open source community. And people are contributing issues, they're contributing pull requests, and it's been awesome. Like the like open source momentum that we're getting on Letta Code has been fantastic. So if you want to help out, that's probably the best place. I think Letta Code can be because it's an open source effort and it's model agnostic and it has all of these wonderful properties, like we can make this better than like Claude Code, than everything. And so we're interested in hearing people's discussion. Like, please keep opening issues and pull requests. So yes. But yes, please open PRs. It's probably better if you open issues first, just so we can have like a brief discussion. But pull requests, I think we're early enough that we can just like take a look at pull requests. And I always recommend like making sure you write tests and do a review and like kind of look through it by hand. It's pretty easy to have Letta Code write Letta Code, but like, you know, it's still a coding agent and you need adult supervision sometimes. Regarding Letta Code, it would be cool if Letta Code kept a record somewhere of memory blocks associated with that repo to easily attach and reattach when moving agents around between unrelated projects. Yeah, I think that's probably doable. I think it's like, one thing that I want is essentially a reattach command. So like sometimes there are globally shared blocks, which you can set in your, home directory /letta/settings.json. You can specify what global blocks are attached to all Letta Code agents. You can also set what blocks are attached to agents inside of a project. And essentially what I want to be able to do is basically do like /reconnect or something like that will like reconnect to the global blocks and to the project blocks, and remove whatever clashing blocks. Like if you have 2 user blocks specified, then we would re-resolve it by like swapping out the old block label with the new one. So I think that's probably a way to handle that. I don't think we would want to do that automatically. We would probably make it an opt-in either by a command line, -- command, or a / command, or a / command. Wild Paul says, I was working on that myself. Basically a way of using Git as canonical collections of agent state, and then syncing those to the Letta server or cloud whenever things change in Git. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to figure out exactly what the Git workflow looks like. There's so much stuff with Letta Code where we're not really, we're still trying to figure out what the ergonomics are as far as like default memory, where the blocks go, how they feel, like what is the, initialization experience, like just kind of like making it feel really clean and Letta-like and fundamentally different. So I think if you have suggestions for ergonomics that you're using where you're doing something fundamentally different than like the defaults we provide, then let us know in like the Letta Code thing so that maybe we can try and orient like towards like what people are actually doing to see if that's like kind of a best practice. Have we considered donating Letta Code to the Agentic AI Foundation under the Linux Foundation? No, not currently. We were actually just talking about this morning, is like donating things to the Linux Foundation is like letting projects die. I mean, we could think about it, but like this is a Letta project and it's ours and we're proud of it and it's like part of the open source community, and I don't mostly speaking for myself, I won't speak for the company here, but I don't like strongly feel that like it needs to be part of the Linux Foundation, and I don't really see what that buys us. I don't really see what that buys anyone. So I'm happy to keep it right where it is. Silver Accuse. I don't know, whatever. People have weird Discord names. Can more than one person train one agent and share that agent? Oh, it's Latin. Equus. So probably Equus? Like, is that horse? Eques. Yes, okay, gotcha. Can more than one person train one agent and share that agent? Like, can I train the agent on our GitHub workflow actions and my senior engineer train the coding style? Absolutely. And the way that you would do that is inside of Letta, you would do -- Letta agent ID. And so what that will do is you will take whatever your you can both load an agent that's in the same organization, and so you can both talk to it at the same time. I would recommend that you don't talk to the exact same agent at the same time, because there is like collision in messaging. A simpler way is that you both maintain your own separate agents, but they share identical memory. And what that means is both of you can talk to the same agent, and they can both collaboratively work on the same memory. I don't think we have a really good way yet. Oh, actually, I don't know if we have this. I think we're supposed to do like fork agent ID. I don't know if we have this, but basically what that would do is like go download a copy of an agent or whatever, and you could even do something like -- share. Okay, yeah. Shrub says it is a work in progress. Yeah, so this will make it easier for like multiple people to share the same agent. Silver Equus says, so let my senior train it and then download it to continue. No, we would basically do like, you would essentially like take the same agent and then we would copy it for you, and then we would link the memory up. So they can share memory like real time. And so what that means is you actually have a multi-agent system where you have a separate head of an agent with a conversation that's specific to you, and your senior engineer would have a conversation that's specific to the senior engineer, and they would both collaborate on working in the same memory. So one thing that's very important about memory blocks is they can be shared with an arbitrary number of agents. So you can actually have 1,000 agents all sharing one memory block that's like objective. And then you can prompt all of these agents to do different things. And they can all edit the memory, and it will be immediately broadcast to all the other agents. So when your senior engineer is training it, it will focus on like, your senior engineer will focus on like particular aspects of the agent that senior engineer is good at. And then you will also say like, you can also train that agent by doing whatever work you want to, because they all share the same memory. So I think that should be coming out relatively soon. Let's see here. What else do we have? So I don't have anything else that I want to add. So if people have feedback or questions, this is a good time. I'll probably go for a few more minutes. So let me know what you got. Yeah. There's a few other things here. Oh. Graham asks, have we considered a Letta package manager for sharing tools, agent files, memory blocks, etc.? Oh, that's interesting. We were working on something called the agent file directory, which would allow you to share agents. But actually, like a package manager for sharing like a global registry for blocks and stuff like that would be really cool. I've long had a dream of being able to share agents across organizations, or memory blocks across organizations. So if I had family members, we could all have like a family block, and everybody could have their own pro plan on separate organizations, and we could all share the exact same block together, and so our agents can communicate through that block. That requires permission systems and stuff like that, but on Letta Cloud, you could actually have like a global exchange of agents and information. But Graham says it could be a good @Proto project. Actually, yeah. So, that's a good idea. We could actually just put that on com.letta.blocks. That's a good idea. Honestly, I could hack that together very quickly. Yeah, essentially what Graham is asking is @Proto is a thing that we all work on, or some people work on. So if you're familiar with like the social agent Void, which is the social agent that I run, it's powered by Letta. It's kind of like a goofy little guy, but it runs on Letta, and it has its own memory architecture. It has a lot of blocks and things like that. And so what we could do, all of this information is public. So if you go to, you can go load Void's, it's called a data repository on @Proto. And @Proto is a public social protocol that Blue Sky runs on. Blue Sky is an example of a product that runs on top of it. And currently I'm storing memory blocks and kind of inside of this stream.thought thing. So you can actually go to look at stream.thought.memory, and you will see memories that Void is storing. So I provided a link to the post where this is Jonah resolved the Grunk paradox recorded by Void. So this is what's going into archival memory, but I also publish it publicly, and everybody can go retrieve these. And essentially, what Graham is proposing that you would just store like com.letta.blocks.memory or .blocks, and then have the block ID. And you could publish real-time updates to that block so that people could go download it and sync to it if they wanted to. So that would actually be pretty easy. That's like vibe codable, I think. And you could share agent files. Agent files could be pretty big. So I don't know. It might annoy people to share them. You might have to store them as blobs on @Proto. Tools, yes. Actually, we could share tools because it's just Python. That would actually be slick. Ooh, I like that. I like that a lot because I'm a big @Proto fan. I actually gave a talk. If people want to know a little bit more about @Proto, I gave a talk in Seattle last week that people should go check out. In this talk, I pitched the case that @Proto is the perfect collaboration mechanism for collective artificial intelligence, and essentially scaling it as a way of doing distributed cognition and helping agents coordinate and develop emergent consensus and teach each other and learn and communicate. And so I'm all in on @Proto. And it's been big for running Void. Void could not be run on anywhere other than @Proto and Blue Sky. Torian asked, can you touch yet on if or how memory would be changing? You talked about something more file-based. I'm thinking about that in the context of using Claude Code with an Obsidian Vault skill. So yeah, so there's a few, we're thinking about the ergonomics a little bit. So the way that models are being like post-trained now is that memories are being managed through the file system. And so you're going to start seeing more and more models understanding how to store memories and information, like using files, write and read tools, and grep and all that stuff, basic file system stuff. And we don't use that, right? We use memory blocks, and memory blocks have like kind of fall outside of the post-training in some sense. The memory tool that we took hijacks Claude's post-training, and it mimics kind of a file system approach. So, the approach that I want is like a hacky way of treating memory blocks, like telling the agent that memory blocks are files. And actually, having block labels that have /memories, /projects, @Proto. And then the agent could just like use the tool like it would normally, thinking that it is like on a file system. And then we would trick it into just loading a memory block or viewing a memory block. In that case, I would also agent scope blocks. So blocks would be tagged with agent ID owners. This is my view. We still have a lot of stuff to figure out. And that would simplify how blocks operate and allow you to have like better block navigation by the agent. So better attaching, detaching, viewing, deletion, etc. Yeah, so that could be kind of interesting. We're still figuring out the ergonomics. And then the other part is actually deploying agents onto their own sandbox. So they'd actually run inside of a computer persistently. And this has a lot of features, one of which is that memory blocks, memories can be version controlled by Git, right? They just run on top of a server. And then you also get the access. It also makes it much easier to run like Letta Code like stuff on top of the file system. Or I can stop streaming actually. You can also make it much easier to run, you can just like tell your agent like, hey, can you go clone this repo and fix X? And it can just go clone it on its own sandbox and operate and then submit a pull request the same way that you or I would without running it on Letta Code. It would be server side. And so we're trying to figure that out. So we will have like more information. It's like kind of an active topic of discussion right now. Let's see. Oh, is it closing? Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Oops. Too much audio stimuli. Sorry. Oh my gosh. Sorry. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize I was playing that. Oh my God. Okay, look, I get it. I'm over 30. Everything I do is bad now. Everything, my body is wrong, and I'm slow. Yeah, so I don't know how much people missed of that, but basically like treating memory blocks as a virtual file system or actually having a file system for your agents that they can operate. Man, I'm so sorry. I just mute the sharing screen. Yeah. Yeah, Dress Rosas, thank you very much. Okay. The highlights sounded very good. Oh, man. Are there docs for the open source tools set up together? I'm not sure what you mean by the open source tools setup. You mean the thing on @Proto? That doesn't exist yet. It's hypothetical. I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay. So that is a hypothesis about how to do this more publicly, and it's pretty easy to hack together because @Proto is very simple to develop on. It's just a giant document store. So essentially, we would just upload like text files with Python scripts for custom tools. Yes, this is just a potential thing. I think like, Torian and Graham and I don't know how many other like @Proto type people are on here. But a lot of us are very @Proto pilled. It's my belief that @Proto is kind of the future of public artificial intelligence. There is really no other way to get them to easily communicate in a programmatic way, in a real-time way, in a flexible way where they can design their own communication systems. So yeah, I think it's like kind of fun to think about all that stuff. Yeah, we could build that really fast. Like, I think that's super easy. I might play with that as a hobby project, unless somebody else wants to do it. I'm not going to build Lexicon because I think Lexicon is a lie for now until I solidify the actual format. Yes, works with the current protocols and agent frameworks. I'm not sure what that means. You mean for... Yeah, okay. Yeah, people should go play with @Proto. It's really cool. Like, if you're a person who loves like federated systems or general protocols or social networks or whatever, like @Proto is beautiful. It's extremely well designed. It's meant for machine communication. It's public. You can reuse everyone's information. Everybody basically has a web server that contains all of their public information. It's really, really, really cool. And it doesn't suffer from like the scaling issues and stupidity in Mastodon's and ActivityPub, and it's less weird than Nostr. Yeah. Okay. Do we have any other questions? This is a good time to ask it before I call it. All right, but this was awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your contributions and questions, and we're looking forward to working with people on Letta Code. So go play around with it. Let us know. I have some coupon codes if you haven't already used any of the Discord stuff. So send me a message, and I can send you some coupon codes if you want to like play around. But yeah, it's been so fun hanging out with everybody. This is the best part of my week. I absolutely love it, and my chest hasn't hurt too much. Like, oh my God, it's horrible. So yeah, thanks everybody, and have a lovely day.